Hello, sippers. I'm Demetrius.
I'm Renee.
And I'm Martia.
And this is Sipping on Wine, a true crime podcast, and a little bit more. Hey, ladies.
Hey, ladies.
Girl.
Hey, sippers.
Hey, sippers. We're back for another episode.
Okay. Okay. Well, how are you guys doing, though? I mean, are you okay? You breathing all right?
I'm good today.
It's True Crime Tuesday, my favorite day of the week. So I'm great, girl. Thanks for
asking. Hey, let's do it. So if you are new to our podcast, although we are a true crime podcast, we also discuss many other topics. So please make sure you keep listening after our case discussion because we have a few other segments you don't want to miss out on. So, all right, ladies, let's tell the sippers what we're sipping on. I got the drink of the week right here. Y'all ready?
I'm ready.
So before we dive into this week, our drink of the week is called Cranberry Cosmopolitan Cocktail. And it's a vodka beverage. And guess what, sippers? I have a mocktail for this same cocktail. So we'll post both on our Instagram.
Look at you looking out for those who don't drink alcohol.
That's right. That's for our sippers that don't put that little bit of drop.
Yeah.
I mean, just add a drop. But I guess, So before we begin speaking on this week's true crime, we want to acknowledge the people that these crimes have left a lasting impact on. We also want to send our heartfelt sympathy to not only the survivors, but also the loved ones and friends of all victims we are about to discuss. I want to give a disclaimer also for this episode. So some of the material in this episode might be unsuitable for most listeners, and it is intended for mature audiences only. This story does contain child physical abuse and sexual abuse. Discretion is fully advised. Please do not listen beyond this point if material involving children is too sensitive for you. So, ladies, are you ready to begin?
Ooh, I think so.
Okay,
I had to give the disclaimer. Don't go beyond this point. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So let's start. This week's case is about Paris Bennett, the boy who murdered his sister in Abilene, Texas in 2007. On January 4th, 2007, Super Bowl Sunday, a 911 call would be made from the Bennett's household. This call will not only shatter a family, but leave a mother with more questions than answers. But first, let's dive into a small background story on some of the individuals involved in today's case. Charity Lee Bennett was born to both Robert Bennett Jr. and Kayla Bennett. Her parents owned and operated their own trucking company called Bennett Trucking Company. It was one of the largest trucking companies in the United States. Robert Bennett was known for running the streets. Although he had a lucrative trucking company, Robert also conducted a lot of illegal operations, such as drug trafficking and auto theft. And he was also known to be a player. In my research, I found out that Charity used that word in one of her interviews. So FYI, Robert's father, her grandfather, was in the Georgia Mafia. A little bit of information I learned from an interview from Kayla Bennett, Charity's mom. So have y'all ever heard of the Georgia Mafia?
I haven't.
Yeah, I didn't heard of that. I didn't even know we had mafias going on in the GA.
Exactly.
So I thought that was kind of interesting. I may look into it later. I don't know. I haven't quite decided if I want to go down that rabbit hole. I couldn't find any information on how long Robert and Kayla Bennett were married before divorcing, but after being divorced for some time, the pair decided to remarry in March of 1980. But only a few days after their nuptials, a tragedy would strike the Bennett's household. On March 11, 1980, James Bennett Jr. was found dead in their Cobb County, Georgia family home. He had been shot multiple times in the head, heart, and back with a .38 caliber revolver. A month after the funeral, Kayla Bennett was arrested at their home as a suspect. Authorities had charged Ms. Bennett for the murder of her husband, James Bennett Jr. She was jailed for 6 weeks and tried in court, but 6 weeks later, the jury found her not guilty, and she was acquitted of all charges. It was alleged that Kayla Bennett had hired a hit on her husband by ordering a former employee to kill her husband. The motive was not disclosed, but I also learned that this wasn't her only marriage. Ms. Bennett had been married several times for at least 7 or 8 times.
Say what now?
Yes, she had been married at least 7 or 8. Is that Liv Taylor? Oh, Elizabeth Taylor. What's her name?
Oh yeah, she had
been married multiple times.
You're right.
Right.
I'm with it though. Keep it moving. Shoot.
Okay. So after her husband's death, Kayla raised Charity the best she knew how, being she was now a single mother. She continued operating her trucking business and worked hard to get back government contracts. Although Kayla worked hard to provide for both her and Charity, Ms. Bennett also enjoyed the fruits of her labor. She has admitted to doing some drugs and drinking, all while Charity was taken care of by nannies. She also expressed during an interview how jealous and demanding Charity was of her because she didn't want her to live her life and give her all of the attention. And whenever Charity didn't get her way or get what she wanted, she would say, and I quote, "Well, you murdered my daddy." So how does a child be jealous of their mom having a life, though?
That's weird.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Sound kind of narcissistic or something.
Yeah.
I want to live my life and do me. But despite losing her father when she was only 5 years old, coupled with the strained relationship she had with her mother, Charity Lee was very smart. She skipped the 10th grade and graduated early with honors. But at the age of 13 years old, she became rebellious and experimented with several different drugs. At 17 years old, she became strung out on drugs. And by 18, she would meet a young man she would fall in love with and move in together. She also attended college, but she was not happy with her life and how things were going and wanted a change. Charity made a promise to herself to get sober. If she wasn't happy within a month, she would just overdose. Well, shortly after that promise, Charity became pregnant with her son, Paris. And she told him, "One day, you'll have to remind me to tell you how you saved my life." Paris Lee Bennett was born on October 10th, 1993. According to Charity, Paris gave her a reason to live, and her life was now back on track. Being the only kid, Paris got everything he wanted. He was Charity's #1 priority. As a child, Paris started drawing at 3 years old and was very good at it. He was an overachiever at school. Paris was noted to be highly intelligent at his age. He has an IQ of 142, but some sources say it's 141. But either way, that's still top of the 1%. So y'all, I'm gonna throw this in, sippers and ladies. Why did I go take an IQ test? I was like,
oh girl,
no.
what it say? What it say?
What was your score?
I'll tell y'all off.
I've never taken one, but I'm just like, oh.
And let me tell you, I shouldn't have. I was up late. It was like 3 a.m. and I should have been more focused.
Is it a long test?
It on the one that I selected, it had 20 questions and they timed you. So, 3 a.m. I'm dog tired and exhausted.
Don't get that excuse.
Look, only 20 questions to determine how smart we are. What? I'm afraid of that.
Now, if it's more out there, I don't know. That was the particular test that I chose.
Well, send me that link. Okay. But I'm not going to share with you what my score is.
Wait, hold on. It wasn't for free.
Oh, really? Oh.
Okay, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you want that. But either way, I took it and I was like, what? That's it? I think I'm gonna do it again in a future, but no time.
You're gonna study a little bit?
Yeah, really, it's nothing you can study for.
Oh, it's one of those tests. Either you know it or you just don't.
Yeah, either you know it or you don't in your time. So it was kind of weird. Okay. So as I was stating, either way, that's still part of the top 1% of the world, y'all. So I was a little inquisitive and wanted to know who all held that type of intellect. Well, let's just say the notorious serial killers have scores of 140 and higher. Elon Musk made the list and a host of other celebrities. They have very high scores as well. So I was kind of interested. Y'all should Google that. On April 12, 2002, there will be a new addition to the family. Charity Lee will give birth to a baby girl whom she named Ella Lee Bennett. Paris was very jealous at first and didn't like the fact of not being the only child. But soon all of that would change. He became the best big brother, always protecting and caring for Ella. The two became inseparable, and Ella adored Paris just as much. But it was noted by Kayla Bennett that Paris couldn't do anything right once Ella came along, and Ella couldn't do anything wrong. But Paris became more distant as he felt left out, feeling that his mom loved Ella more. But some people do get jealous of siblings. I remember my mom like, you got a baby sister? I was like, I gotta share toys. So I mean, I guess that could be like a natural reaction. You do feel left out, and you've been the only child for so long, and here comes somebody else to take your spot. You know, just the feeling, not to say that that child would, but you do kind of feel like, who is this coming in? What you getting the crib for? Who the crib for?
I
What's
remember
this?
that feeling when my brother got here. So yeah, you're right.
Like,
Yeah,
Harpo, who this?
I
Why
can
is he
see, you're
still here?
right. I can see that being a natural reaction. Like you do feel left out, the baby get more attention, the toys. So when Paris was 12 years old, he was in timeout and was yelled at by Charity because he was teasing his sister and his aunt, who is Charity's little sister, who was around the same age as Ella. So he pulled a knife from the kitchen and ran outside. It was noted that he didn't hurt anyone, but it took for Charity and Kayla, the grandmother, to grab his wrist to calm him down and take the knife. Charity decided it was best to get him help. She took Paris to a psychiatric hospital to be evaluated and treated. But after a week of them doing nothing, no evaluations and no reports or any assessments or tests done, Charity had her son discharged. Yet before leaving, she never spoke to one doctor about her child. No one said anything. They just released him with no further information on what was going on. That's when Charity Lee decided to move her family to Abilene, Texas to get a fresh start. So let me say this. I also learned that later he was trying to attempt to stab his mother. That's why he ran to the kitchen and grabbed the knife.
And how old was he again?
Mind you, at this time, he is 12.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
So, but listen to this. He was admitted in the facility, and I learned that they did tell Paris that he had homicidal tendencies. So he was, he
at age 12?
At age 12.
Oof. Wow.
But she believed, though, if he would have stayed, nothing would have helped him. So I found that out later in my research, but I had to interject that in here now because I was like, why would she take him out if she feel like he needs to be treated and help? And why are the doctors not talking? But they really did actually give her a diagnosis. So she just felt like it wouldn't have helped with him staying at the facility. So fast forwarding to April 4th, 2007, Super Bowl Sunday, Charity Lee would leave Paris, who is now 13 years old, and Ella, who is now 4, in the care of a babysitter to care for them while she went to work. This was going to be a very busy night at work for her since it was Super Bowl Sunday. While working her shift at Buffalo Wild Wings, Charity Lee was approached by an officer and pulled into the manager's office to inform her that Ella was hurt. Charity tried to rush past them to leave, but they wouldn't let her leave. Before she could leave, they would tell her that Ella is dead. So after fainting, after fainting and coming to, she would ask about her son, Paris. They would tell her, your son murdered your daughter.
Abilene 911. Hello? Abilene 911, go ahead. I actually killed somebody. You think you killed somebody? No, I know I did. I woke up and I was hallucinating. You were hallucinating? Yes, and I thought my sister was a demon and I killed her. I want you to start CPR, okay? What I want you to do is take her off the bed. No, I know for a fact that she's dead because of... Do you want to go ahead and try? It might still help, okay? No, I don't think it'll help because... Come on, Paris, work with me. I know I stabbed her lots of times. Okay. Paris? Yes? Take her off the bed and put her on the floor. Okay, hold on. Yeah. I'm not hanging up on you. I thought she was in demon. Okay. She's on the floor, but I can't stay here because she's all bloody and Paris, what I want you to do is I want you to put your hands on her chest. Okay? And I want you to push 30 times. I want you to count. Okay. All the way to 30 and then blow 2 breaths in her mouth. Okay? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Paris? You put it down.
Okay, y'all, that was the 911 call that Paris made regarding his sister.
Wow.
Wow, that's wow. I'm speechless on that one.
I wonder if he was actually doing anything on his end.
You know,
that's the same thing I was thinking, Renee, because he had
when
already told her
you
like,
hear
I just
people,
did.
we've played those audios where we go, oh man, they were really helping, and then by the end we were like, they weren't doing anything.
Yeah.
So on April 4th, 2007, Paris Bennett had convinced the babysitter to go home. What all was said was not disclosed, but you can imagine a 13-year-old telling his babysitter, oh, go home, we're good. That's what I was picturing. Not to say that's what he said, Sippers, but just in my opinion, how does a 13-year-old convince someone older than him to go home? Well, shortly after 11:30 p.m., he made that 911 call. Paris tries to convince them he only killed his sister because he thought he saw a demon. While laying next to her in the bed, he saw a burning pumpkin head demon, and he was terrified. He began choking her at first, then stabbed her and pushed her away and stabbed her in the back. But later, as Paris was further investigated and forensics gathered information, the story that Paris wanted everyone to believe sounded as if he was having a moment of hallucination. But the evidence and autopsy will prove he was a monster instead of a loving brother that night. Paris Bennett did something that would cause his mother to become not only a mother of a lost child, but a mother who lost 2 children. Charity Lee was now grieving a loss of 1 child while trying to get a lawyer to defend the other who committed the murder.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's so tragic.
Goodness.
But it's also just so tragic for the mother.
Right. So on April 4, 2007, a 911 call was made at 11:30. But here's what authorities concluded. Paris Bennett had planned this murder for weeks. Paris had done more than he stated in that call.
What?
He beat and choked Ella Lee Bennett and stabbed her not only once or twice, but 17 times.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
He wasn't doing no CPR.
No.
On that point.
Exactly.
Goodness.
So forensic experts.
And this was at age 12 still, or was this?
He's 13 now.
He was 13. Oh,
and she's 4. So forensic experts, detectives, and blood experts confirmed the wounds were slow and calculated, not frenzied and not done uncontrollably, as he painted it to be in his 911 call. Not all of her wounds were deep. Some were just puncture wounds. During his interrogation, Paris told detectives he pulled the knife out slowly. It was like stabbing a mattress or a marshmallow. But 4-year-old Ella did have some defensive wounds, which means at least she did try to fight back her attacker. So can you imagine a 4-year-old, someone who you love and trust, is towering over you and harming you? They also found at the crime scene semen, and that evidence was thoroughly and carefully analyzed, and it belonged to Paris Bennett. It was found on both the mattress and Ella's body. The Dallas FBI lab had also discovered something more troubling that occurred that night. Before the murder, Paris had been watching pornography on his computer, which included S&M, violent porn, bondage, and sadism, and he researched snuff films. I don't know if anybody's familiar with snuff films, but
I was getting ready to ask, what is that?
Well, since I did give a disclaimer, snuff films, which they can't really back it up, but some people say it is true. You do the act of sex and then you kill the partner.
Oh my goodness.
In a violent way.
That's actually a thing that they had to give a name to?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Very sad. But I found out he did search for the snuff films, but he never viewed it. So the FBI concluded it was just in the search engine. It was not actually watched or any videos were uploaded.
He was 13, like 13. Involved in all of this? Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm. So many publications that I found stated that Paris actually sexually assaulted Ella. I don't know if I can use sexually assaulted, but I'll say
you should be able to.
Okay. Because he watched the adult themed material before committing the murder, he became sexually excited and experienced some type of sexual gratification from the act of murder. I didn't even know that was a thing, like people getting off from murder.
Never knew that.
So it make you wonder how deep and rooted does porn really make some people mentally go there, you know?
I don't think so, because I think everybody look at porn at some point in their life.
Right, but for him to view that,
I think you already was sick to begin with.
Okay.
To search stuff out like that, yeah, because we're not in our search history have any snuff films and stuff like
right. No,
looking at people getting killed.
No,
I think that's something.
I thought snuff was like tobacco. Like this is my first time.
Oh, that's
even knowing.
Snuff too.
Yeah, that's my first time ever knowing that there was another meaning to that word. I'm just like, wow.
So that night, Paris also made a call to a friend from school. The call lasted 6 minutes. What he said to him or what was the conversation about was never disclosed. He then hangs up, and that's when he calls 911, telling them his version of events. I was thinking, like, what made you do that act? And then you call a friend for 6 minutes before calling 911? Were you trying to get the friend to say, hey, you need to get help? You need to call for help? I don't know.
Right.
For 6 minutes, they haven't noted that he called and spoke to a friend from school, and then he called 911. So in the weeks leading up to his hearing, Paris had refused a jury and took a guilty plea. The reasons why I couldn't find, but I read that allegedly it could have been to avoid being listed as a sex offender, allegedly. But Charity Lee tried getting her son diagnosed throughout his time in the detention center. But one doctor wanted the reason why he did it was because Paris has a sleepwalking disorder. So have y'all heard about a sleepwalking disorder and then you commit a crime?
Not about committing. Well, I've heard that people try to use that.
Oh,
I've seen stuff like that, but I've never seen anything successfully done, like where they got off because it was like, oh, they were sleeping.
So you're not really diagnosing. You're just gonna say, oh, he has a sleepwalking disorder. I'm gonna have to look into that. Has anybody ever used that in a case for?
Yeah, and it has
a doctor
to
say that, but I've never seen it work.
Right.
Because that's a stretch. Like people do things when they sleepwalk, right?
Okay.
Like get in a car or beat up somebody or whatever. Like I've heard of that. But to actually say this is why I stabbed somebody 50 times.
Right.
And I'm always kind of like, how are you trying to go get a diagnosis afterwards? So I don't know. That's just crazy, man.
It is. Sad. So Paris's attorney told Charity if no one can find anything clinically wrong, he would have to take her to the stand and she would be seen as an unfit mother. And it would be her fault as to why Paris killed Ella. So that defense attorney was like, hey, if we can't find a doctor to come up with a conclusion on his mental health, then we're putting you on the stand and you're going to be at fault. So that's kind of strong.
I definitely understand how they can say that too. Yeah.
But after not believing the diagnosis of him having a sleepwalking disorder from the previous doctor that she paid $15,000 for, another doctor labeled Paris Bennett as a psychopath and suggested she move far away because he felt she wasn't safe if he ever got out of prison. That's strong. You went from a sleepwalking disorder to he a psychopath.
You don't never need to get out.
Right.
You need to be supervised at all times, I think.
But Charity didn't give up, y'all. She hung in there and fought for her son to get the help he needed because Paris was her son and she loved him as her son and not the murderer that took her daughter. Although she did state multiple times it was very difficult and she wanted to walk away, but she would oftentimes question how could she love someone who murdered her daughter to hurt her. So she is quoted saying, "My son is a monster. And because he is a monster, I have lost my daughter." So fast forward to October 21st, 2007, a judge sentenced Paris Lee Bennett to 40 years in prison. That was the max he could get, given that he was a minor or a juvenile in the state of Texas, which means, get ready, he will be released in 2047. And also listen to this, but Bennett will be eligible for parole after serving half his time in 2027. So because he has been in state custody since February 2007, Bennett has built up credit for the time served in the juvenile system. There is so much to be said about this case. I found out that Paris' father, y'all, was diagnosed with schizophrenia. So do y'all think that could attribute to anything, or that's totally separate?
I mean, I think it might have something
about it. Yeah.
It's something in there, but still, I mean,
yeah,
he still need to be supervised.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Because one thing with murder cases and like rapists, like when you hear about a rapist getting 99 years, I don't have this as a fact, but this is kind of the conclusion I'm drawing. For cases where it's kind of difficult to rehab a person, that's part of the reason why they're keeping them away so long. But then the thought and the premise behind somebody so young not being quote unquote tried as an adult is because the younger the person is, the better chance they may have to be, go through rehabilitation. But see, in my opinion, though, this is just an uneducated opinion here because I don't have the background for investigating and all that. I'm thinking the way that he killed his sister and committed that crime, I don't think he should get out, even though he was 13 when he did it. But I'm thinking he need to stay there forever. But that's just my opinion.
That was the max sentence they could give a juvenile at that time, 40 years. So that's crazy for him to do that act so young. Like, what pushed you to that point? So I will add this also. In 2011, Charity Lee founded the nonprofit Ella Foundation, which stands for Empathy, Love, Lessons in Action, which helps people affected by violence, mental illness, and the criminal justice system. So she saw something good coming out of her end as far as like what victims like Ella. So, but just a year later, Charity would give birth to a baby boy, and his name is Phoenix.
At that point, I would be scared to have any more kids. Like, I would just leave it alone.
I can see your point, yeah.
But I mean, I guess it's with a different father though, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Yeah. Ugh, that's hard.
But Charity is also open and honest, y'all, about who his brother is, and sometimes allows them both to speak on the phone.
Y'all can't talk. Nope.
Yeah, she allows them, like when I saw the documentary, I'm gonna list everything as soon as I'm done with the story, I'll list. But in that documentary, he does call her and she accepts the call and they have like a casual conversation. How was your day? He speaks to the little brother and everything. And the little brother was, excited to hear from him, even though he's never seen him because he can't see him being of the extent of the act that he did to his little sister. He's not allowed around children. But I just thought that was odd. I was like, wow, this woman, her forgiveness level is high.
Right. That's what I was thinking. I don't want to talk bad about
or either if it's not forgiveness, your love for your child, she has a lot of love for him.
Right, exactly. I don't want to say nothing negative about it, but that's just interesting. And what I just thought about too is like, you know how you talked earlier about how sometimes an older sibling can have animosity towards the new baby.
Right.
Now he's in jail and watching another kid get all this attention and love and affection.
Oh, wow. Okay.
What if he gets out in 20 years with a vengeful heart still because this new kid has gotten the life that he never got to live?
You're right.
I know I went left with that one and kind of super deep or whatever, but I would not be letting my baby talk to this dude in jail. No.
Yeah, he gets out in 2047. I mean, even if he doesn't get out in 2027.
You're gonna know, you're gonna know of him, like, that's his name and this is where he's at.
Right.
But contact?
And here's release date is coming up. We're about to go into hiding.
You especially did that to your other sibling? Like,
right. Who lived in the household with you.
That's what I'm saying. Because when he get out of jail, who address is he gonna use to come home to?
Ooh.
The only person he's been attached to, his mom.
Right. Ooh. Y'all posing some great information with this true crime.
Yeah, this is definitely a doozy. You warned us, but I still wasn't ready. I'll admit that.
Okay, but let me list this also, sippers and ladies. From an article I found online from New York Times, Charity Lee is quoted saying, "Critics of mine like to disparage me from allowing Paris to speak to Phoenix. They tell me what a horrible mother I am for allowing the child who murdered my child to speak to my other child." To them, she has one retort: "I am setting an example for Phoenix, an example of how unconditional love and forgiveness looks and behaves," end quote. So do y'all agree with that? Like, she's showing him how to give unconditional love to others and forgiveness.
I can't get on that train with her.
Wow.
All I can say is, since I've never been in those shoes, it wouldn't be appropriate for me to really say what she should and shouldn't do. So it's just, wow, it's deep though.
So this story goes deeper into detail if anyone wants to watch a documentary called The Family I Had I also recommend reading Charity Lee's book. It's called How Now Butterfly, a memoir of murder, survival, and transformation. There's a Piers Morgan interview also. I heard it was on Netflix, but I didn't go and search for that on Netflix. It's called Psychopath with Piers Morgan. On that one, Paris does an interview with Piers Morgan, and his mom is in a hidden room listening in on the interview. And she is just heartbroken by the words that he's saying in that documentary. So I'm going to tell you this, though. In that interview, Bennett admits to Piers that the murder was driven by a calculated desire to inflict pain and misery upon his mother.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
All in all, that's what he was really trying to do, was hurt his mom.
And all this whole time, she's still trying to save his life.
Right. Fighting for him, trying to get him, expensive diagnosis and treatment, and to come up with what's going on between their relationship and where did she go wrong. I mean, she felt like a very bad parent at the beginning, but then as the table started turning, she started realizing that he was more selfish than anything. And just to know that in that interview, what he told Piers Morgan, just to see her hurt and in pain, that's crazy. But I got something else. So Renee, you know how we mentioned prior in our episodes about writing inmates?
Yes.
Well,
did you do that?
Well,
the excitement in her voice. Just
I know, right? I'm sorry.
I wanted to, and I looked it up, but you really have to like sign in and all this stuff like that. But I did see a few people comment on this website that I searched for information on him about, and some people have written him.
See, I wouldn't want no contact with that one.
Right. So the website is called writeaprisoner.com.
It's a whole website, I guess.
Yeah, it's a whole website, and he's on there. I searched. Okay, don't nobody judge me. I was doing research. Okay. So I searched, and he's actually on the website, and people can write to him. Like, it makes you wonder, like, what kind of conversation are these people gonna have with somebody that commits such an act like that? Like,
I know.
Because how old is he now?
To know. So I thought I would share that.
So he's what, about 20 something, 30?
Oh, his
okay. Because this was what, in 2007, you said?
Mm-hmm. He was 13.
Oh, okay.
So it just make you wonder, like, wow, writeaprisoner.com. And also, let me disclose this before I close out this true crime. In an interview, Paris stated, one of the reasons why I chose to kill my sister and not someone else is because I knew by doing that, I could hurt my mother in the worst possible way, because I always known as a child that the most devastating thing to my mother would be the loss of one of her children. But I found a way to take away both of her children in one fell swoop. And I'm going to close out with this true crime for this week on Paris Bennett. Don't forget to go read her book if you are interested in her book, because it does give a little bit more detail. She does like a diary entry in that book, and it's very interesting, to see a mom she's on both ends of the spectrum. So if you're interested in those, I'll try to list those links also on our social media, but research furthermore into Paris Bennett if you're more curious about the case. And that, ladies, we're going to close the book on Paris Bennett, and his parole is due up in 2027. I'm not sure if they'll accept him and release him or how the parole board is going to do it, but I just pray for that mom. Like, I hope he doesn't physically come in contact with her, because I don't know what he would legitimately do to her. Like, I'm in fear for her when he get out.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's sad.
So we're closing the book on Paris Bennett, and I'm saying a prayer to the family members that are survivors, and that mom, please stay strong. I know it's gotta be hard. I mean, I don't know per se, but that
you birth somebody like that does that. Yeah.
Right. All right, sippers, we're going to move into what we call Random Wind Down. Random Wind Down is a segment where we select random current events or topics of our interest to have an open discussion and give our opinions on. Okay, sippers, I have 3 current events to unpack. Let us know what you think about each one in our comments section. So here's the first one. I snagged this one from Fox35Orlando.com. This one takes place in Orlando. Ladies, I don't know. I think you might be familiar with this one, and sippers may be too. The mother of a 10-year-old who shot and killed a woman in Orlando appeared in court on Wednesday, May 31st, where the judge had set her bond at $50,000. The little girl was then sent into custody of the Florida Department of Children's and Family. Lucretia Isaac, age 31, is facing several charges, including aggravated assault with a firearm, manslaughter, and child neglect. The Orlando police say Isaac was with her 10-year-old daughter when she got into a fight with another woman just before midnight on that Tuesday, May 30th, at an apartment complex on Mercy Drive. They say Isaac handed her daughter her bag, and inside was a gun. The investigators said the 10-year-old took the gun out and fired 2 rounds, which struck the other woman. The victim, later identified as LaShawn Denise Rogers, age 41, was taken to the hospital when she died. The state attorney is reviewing the case for potential charges for the 10-year-old child. And I decided to do a follow-up since this happened, a few days ago, or maybe a week or so ago. So here's the update. The information is found also on the same website that I listed. The 10-year-old girl who police said shot and killed a woman her mother was involved with in a fight last week in Orlando is now being charged with murder. So the 10-year-old, y'all, is being charged with murder.
So the mother isn't being charged, or did I miss that?
The mother is initially being charged, and they went back and they're gonna charge the little girl for murder as
10 years old, get out of here.
Yeah.
I mean,
the Orlando
all on the mother on that.
Right. The Orlando Police Department said she was arrested on the charge of second-degree murder Tuesday, June 7th, and was taken to the Juvenile Justice Center without incident. The young girl was previously placed in custody of the Florida Department of Children and Families as charges were being referred to the state attorney. So the state attorney is pushing forward with those charges, y'all. And the state attorney stated this: "This is one of the most tragic cases I've seen in my 22-year career," said Monique Worrell. "Our office has started the process of reviewing this case and will consider all of the facts, including the age of the child and all of the surrounding circumstances when making this decision." So ladies, what do y'all think about a 10-year-old being charged with second-degree murder? She went in her mother's purse, y'all, pulled a gun out,
gave
and
it
shot
to her.
her.
I don't know.
When I heard about this, I really couldn't even give an opinion about it, honestly, because I don't know how to feel. I think that due to the circumstances that her mother put her in, though, this is not one of those cases where she just decided, I'm gonna do this because I want to. If you kind of feel like, okay, put yourself in this 10-year-old shoes, she probably thought, I need to save my mom. So
okay, well, let me add this in. So allegedly, it's also being said that she stabbed a family member to death.
Oh, wait a minute, huh?
The 10-year-old.
When was this? At the same time?
Oh,
I don't know if the occurrences happened within, the same time frame, but it was noted, allegedly she did. I don't know the true facts about her. That's what I'm saying. Allegedly,
a younger cousin or something like
yes,
that. Like
it
another
was a
kid.
younger cousin, family member that she stabbed to death, and also pulling out the gun on the other woman and shooting her. Maybe the state attorney is like, hold on, this is starting to be a pattern. Like she's not really acting in her right state of mind. Let's think about it. So I just thought I would bring that forward because I thought it was very interesting. These kids are getting younger and younger and bold. At 10, I'm not thinking to go in my mom's purse and pull out a gun and shoot the other woman.
Circumstances too, though, in this case.
Yeah, I'm saying, what was her mother teaching her?
Right. Her environment.
That's what some people were commenting on as well. So I like to see.
This is a hard one.
Yeah, I like to see a update on that. I'm gonna try to stay on that one. I don't know if I'm gonna put it in another episode, Sippers, but I will try to follow up if there's any other leads, maybe on our social media. So
what do you think should happen to her as far as the charges?
I think after hearing about the cousin, I think something needs to happen. I don't know about the charges or how they should press forward, but she does need to be removed from society for a minute. Like
intense rehab for sure.
But something needs to happen. because I don't know what's being taught at home or how leisurely the family members, older members are, or younger members are around her. And like, what's the mentality in the family, like beyond the mom? Now in a TV, in a broadcast interview, I saw the dad, wanting the child to come to him, but why would she be with you? If she's doing this with the mom, what's she gonna do different with
Like,
you
where has
in
he
your
been?
care? I just thought that was kind of weird. I was like, I get it. He don't want his child locked up and charged for something of that type of, I don't know how you say it, like that type of degree, like second degree murder. You're gonna do some time if those charges press through. And I do feel sorry for the victim and her families. Like, that was a 10-year-old that took someone's mom, aunt. And I hear that the woman that she killed was good in the community. Like, she helped everybody if they needed. And she was well known. So that's just sad.
It's a tragedy all the way around.
Yeah, it is. So we're going to move into the second part of this segment. And I grabbed this one from thedailymail.com. A woman in Indiana allegedly tracked down her boyfriend at a bar with an Apple AirTag and killed him by ramming him over 3 times with her car after she saw him with another woman.
I heard about this.
Crazy. Yeah, me too. That was tragic. Wow.
Yes. So Galen Morris, age 26, allegedly hit her boyfriend, Andre Smith, also 26, with her vehicle around 12:30 a.m. on June 3rd. The pub called officers, and they arrived and located Mr. Smith laying on the ground underneath the vehicle. The Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department said in the news release, it appeared he was struck by the vehicle. So when the fire department came and responded, and unfortunately, they pronounced Mr. Smith dead at the scene. A witness said Morris had told her about how she tracked down Smith with an AirTag. Anybody got Apple AirTags out there?
I don't use them.
I don't know.
Like, how do you find somebody with an Apple AirTag? Like,
it's just like a little kind of like a key fob, kind of like a tiny little, I don't even know how to, like a little disc or
a small little device.
And so you can kind of clip it to, say, your book bag, or you can clip it to like your dog, so that if they go missing, you can pull up the location on your phone. So like, if I wanted to be really sneaky and want to know where my man is going, I will just put an AirTag in his car.
Okay, so
track it.
Apparently that's what she did. So allegedly, she said she was in a relationship with the victim and thought he was cheating on her with another woman. So that's what prompted her to.
Oof, that's scary.
Yeah. So after arriving at Tilly's pub, Galen Morris allegedly grabbed an empty wine bottle and swung it at the other woman. The bottle did not hit her because Andre Smith intervened and caught it. And moments later, the 3 of them were asked to leave by staff. A witness later shared with police that she was at the bar when she saw Morris pulling forward and clipping Mr. Smith with her car in the parking lot, and he went down each time, then backed over him and then pulled forward and hit him for the 3rd time.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so Morris then allegedly attempted to run after the woman exiting her vehicle, but the police intervened and placed her under arrest. The woman that had initially been at the pub with Smith was not harmed in this incident. So that's sad. Like, that anger because he's cheating, people walk away. Right. Walk away. It's not worth going to jail. Walk away.
You don't own people.
If he's cheating, he didn't want you.
Do what you want them to do.
Right.
And now that you've run him over with your car because you were so angry
3 times,
you're in jail forever. Like, that's just, unless she gets off on temporary insanity, I don't know how it all works, but that's terrible.
Right. People, just walk away. It's not worth it. It's not worth putting an AirTag. Just have his stuff nicely packed at the front door, or either the side. Just pack it up. Or call the cops, have him escorted out that way when he get home. Be like, hey, I need y'all here when he get here so he can get his belongings and leave.
Right. Like, you really want to give up, because he's doing it to you. You really want to give up the rest of your life to be sitting in prison. It's not worth it. You ran over him 3 times. That's a little excessive, first of all, if you really want to go there. So your time is going to be what you get, and you you just deserve it. You took it to that point in extreme, especially when you got the AirTag. That's like invasion of privacy or something. I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know, ladies. Don't be out there ear tagging your man and then chasing
him. I'm just playing.
Okay.
I wouldn't do that. I don't think.
But even
I wouldn't. I'm just gonna let you go.
Get out there and run somebody down.
Right.
You know, take that information and move on.
I just do it just to know.
Yeah. Just if that's just to know, and like, because your curiosity or your intuition is telling you, hey, I don't think this man being faithful, but to go up there and then try to hit the other woman, it's not her fault either. You need to handle your man, but you didn't have to handle him in that manner.
Like that. But,
right. Oh, I thought that was kind of deep. I was like, really? Oh, ladies, we got to do better. It's not worth it. But I have one last entry that I want to talk about on this one, the last and final current event. I found this one on BET.com. Don't laugh at me. I don't know the credibility of.
Girl, nothing wrong with BET.com.
Okay. But so I went on.
Don't do us like that.
Okay. So I went on BET.com. So on June 7, 2022, a Fort Worth, Texas woman has been charged with the abuse of a corpse for a 2020 incident in which she allegedly threw the ashes of her boyfriend's late mother in a lake.
Ooh.
Yeah, I heard about this.
Now, I'm sorry. You got to go to jail.
I remember.
You can't be touching with people's person. That's personal. That's like you violating my body or something. What? That's my mom, man. That's my last memory. Why would you do that? That's just weird. So Augustine Gladney, age 40, of Fort Worth, was arrested last month after she reportedly admitted her actions to her boyfriend, Ernest Smith. That's so sad. So on May 4th, she was charged with abuse of a corpse after she threw the ashes of her boyfriend's mother into a lake. The Fort Worth Police Department said Ernest Smith, age 38, told the officers that his girlfriend, Augustine Gladney, age 40, confessed to him in a text message that she dumped his mother's ashes. The Dallas Express reports that the police said Smith contacted them after he discovered his mother's urn missing on January 3rd, 2020, nearly 2 years before they arrested Gladney. The two were dating at the time, but their relationship was on the rocks. A break in the case came recently after Smith said he overheard Gladney tell her daughter on the phone that she threw the urn into the lake. So you on the phone, he can hear you. You need to go to jail. And because you fight, here's another situation, because y'all are fighting.
Exactly. That's a low blow.
Right.
And I guess when people are like feeling the pain from whatever the betrayal is, they want that other person to hurt too. So a part of me just kind of says you just never know what reaction you're going to get from your actions when you know you're doing somebody dirty.
Right.
But then the other part of me is kind of like, well, but you can't commit a crime, and kill people or destroy, as they say. What are they charging her for? Tampering with a body or something?
With a corpse.
With a corpse, yeah. So that's just terrible.
Right. So Gladney faces up to a year in prison and a maximum fine of $4,000 if convicted. You got to go, ma'am. I hope you don't take her back or whatever they doing with their relationship.
I would never trust her with anything ever in life.
Right. And then it sounds like if you're on the phone telling your daughter, are you bragging about it, what you did? And I can overhear you? Yeah, you need to go to jail. I'm thinking I misplaced it. Maybe he thought he misplaced it or put it somewhere else. And then kind of find out that's exactly what happened to it. His mother's ashes. That's so sad.
It is.
Ladies, stop touching people's stuff out of anger. Just stop.
No, just walk away.
Just walk away.
That will hurt them even more.
Right.
Just do that.
It really would. And you walk away with no reason. Don't call. Don't text. Just leave them. Just ghost them. And at the time, just ghost them. Just come up ghost. Don't even look back. But now you gotta either go to prison for a year and pay $4,000. Like for what? Just let us know, sippers, what you think of all three of these events in our comment section. And thanks, ladies, for your comments and commentaries.
Always.
And this will conclude this week's true crime episode. So
we're at the end.
People.
We needed to be at the end of this one because I'm gonna tell you what, that little boy. Oof.
Yes, Paris Bennett.
We need to put this one to a close. This was a good episode, but my goodness, just
it had a heavy hitter in this one.
It did, yeah.
Okay, sippers, we hate to leave,
but we gotta go.
We gotta go.
Don't forget to check us out, sippers, when we go live on Wednesday, tomorrow.
If you guys are listening to this on a Tuesday.
On Tuesday.
And if you missed it, go to our Instagram page. It'll still be there.
That's right.
The replay.
And thank you for all your lovely comments. Thank you to our new subscribers. We just want to say, keep pushing that button. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Share us. You can DM us. And if you have any questions, just hit us up. We love to hear from you.
All right. Bye, ladies.
Bye, ladies.
Bye, sippers.
Bye.